Sorry.
Contributed knowledge. Look. This is called the bigotry.
Listen.
Look. This is the bigotry of denial.
This is not bigotry.
Of denial.
This is not bigotry of
Okay, my
denial.
friend. Okay.
You do know where civilization started.
One second.
It didn't start with the Europeans. It didn't start with the Muslims, and it most certainly didn't start with the Arabs. It started with the Mesopotamians.
Did you study history from the Middle Age and histories? Okay, tell me from the 8th century to 12th century, how old the world was and the state of knowledge.
How old the world was?
How was the world's state of knowledge in terms of agriculture, in terms of military techniques, in terms of physics, chemistry, biology, astronomy, science, mathematics, engineering?
Okay,
how was it?
I'll tell you.
Whether it's in Ukraine?
It was very degraded. No, not in Ukraine. In Western Europe, after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, it was very degraded because a lot of the knowledge that the Romans had acquired was lost with the barbarian invasions and with the pillaging and with the sacking and with the raiding.
So you are now saying the knowledge was already there present?
Yes.
Listen,
no.
This is a denial, outright denial of history.
This is denial. You can call it denial, but let's talk about the Arabic history.
Calculus. How did calculus originate? Let's talk about mathematics and calculus.
No, wait. There were Roman numbers before there were Arabic numbers.
Calculus is Roman numbers.
There were Roman numbers before there were Arab numbers. I'm not saying calculus is something made by the Romans. The Romans did things their own way.
Where did calculus come from? The science of calculus.
You're not answering my question.
I want you to focus on the specifics.
Let's talk about history. Let's talk about history of the Arabs.
The
Arabs started as a bunch of tribes in Saudi Arabia.
Calculus.
In Saudi Arabia.
Calculus.
We call it Saudi Arabia now, but back then it wasn't called like
Why
that.
you
They
not?
were united by Muhammad, and they became Muslims.
The Library of Alexandria was burned.
Eventually.
By the Christians, yeah?
Sorry?
The Library of Alexandria was burned.
Guys, calm down.
Right.
Let's not have
So
a flame
now,
war here.
calculus.
Don't jump from
I'm not
thing to
jumping.
thing. Don't
Why are you
jump.
avoiding calculus?
I'm not avoiding.
Do you know why I bring this up?
Why do you avoid history? Why do you avoid history of the Arabs? The Arabs were in Saudi Arabia. There was the Eastern Roman Empire in the west. There was the Sassanid Empire in the east. The Sassanid Empire and the Roman Empire were at war with each other. They were weakening each other, and occasionally they were attacking the Arabs because empires do that. The Arabs attacked the Sassanids, they took over the Sassanids, they conquered the Sassanids. The Arabs then waged war against the Romans, and they quickly took over a lot of the Roman Empire.
These nomad tribes, they conquered the Byzantines.
Yes.
These nomad tribesmen, they conquered one of the world's
Do you know
superpower.
about the Mongols?
Wait, one second.
Do you know about the
One
Mongols?
second.
Okay, go ahead.
These nomadic tribes in Arabia, they conquered the world superpower, the Byzantines, and they defeated, right?
And the
How?
And the Sassanids.
And how?
Because they were very good warriors, because they had discipline. But most importantly of all, because
Just because of discipline, they win. So if you have discipline,
how did the Mongols take over the world? How did the Mongols beat other armies that were many times superior to them?
Where are the Mongols?
Genghis Khan.
In Mongolia.
No. Where's the Mongol Empire? How long did it last?
But they did
How long did it
conquer.
last? They converted.
Where is the
They
caliphate?
converted to
Where is the
Islam. They
caliphate?
converted.
Where is the
Exactly.
caliphate?
When did the last caliphate? When did it finish? When did it finish?
How was Stalin?
How long
Was
did
there?
the
I would say it's the Ottoman Empire.
So basically, okay, fine. It is not surprising that we
Much longer
feel
than the Mongols, mate.
and we see that gentlemen like yourself with very knowledge of history somehow missed the history of the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th centuries that Muslim civilization contributed.
I'm not denying that.
What did they
I'm talking
contribute?
about
Okay,
the
fine.
origins.
Okay, what did they contribute?
This country.
Give me some examples.
When the Library of Baghdad was burned by the Mongols, it was a big hit on the golden
What
age
did
of the
they
Islamic.
contribute? What did they contribute?
100 years of existence.
They contributed to culture, they contributed to astronomy, they contributed to maths, as you said, Arabic numbers. I'm not denying any of
How
it.
did they?
What you're
How were they able
saying-
to contribute? Because what the Quran told them: go and travel around the
No,
earth and
because
see.
they learned with the Romans and they didn't just burn everything apart. They
know
learned
what-
with
you know
the
what?
empires that they conquered, with the
Is that a
Sassanids,
typical
with the
European
Romans.
mindset of history?
The Sassanids were not even the Europeans, mate.
No, I'm saying
Sassanids were Persians.
the particular presentation of history you're giving me, I mean, unless we go and learn about the real history, we will have this kind of hatred
your
and bigotry.
history.
No, your history.
I mean, your
I know my history, but you don't know our history.
Your history is the real
You don't know
history, but it's very flawed.
Excuse me.
It makes no sense.
You don't. Do you know how the Europeans suppressed the Islamic history for a reason? Do you know how they lied and deceived and tortured and totally fabricated Islamic history about the Prophet, about the Quran? It's all
they didn't.
documented.
They didn't
Even in the
at all.
Middle Ages. Even just recently in the
They
19th
didn't at
century.
all.
You know,
Wow.
Muslims always speak ill of the Crusades, and I'm not a big fan of the Crusades, honestly. The
Sounds
Crusades
like
were
it.
usually what sounds like it.
Sounds like it.
It
Sounds
might
like a fan of
sound
the
like,
Mongols as well.
but it's not
What
like
did the
that.
Mongols invent?
Right. So let's come back to the point. Let's
what
come
the
back
Mongols
now.
invent?
So now, brother.
No, brother, one second. Sorry, brother Mansur, yeah? This is important. You're
Kebabs,
talking of it as,
maybe?
exactly. As if like the Mongols took over the world
That is
and
the
created
difference
what?
because the
And created
Mongols
what?
invaded and they killed
Invaded.
20% of human population.
Thank you.
on
What did the
Earth.
Muslims do? They lived in peace
Because
with
they
them.
didn't just burn
Thank
everything
you.
that they conquered.
Thank you. So it's
They
called
learned with
intelligence.
the empire
It's called
that they
civilization.
conquered.
It's called establishing
Because they
civilization.
learned with those
There's a
empires.
massive
They
difference, mate,
learned
and
with
you're
the-
refusing to see it. I'm
not
sorry to say.
refusing
Good.
it. I'm
So he's
saying it
acknowledging.
right now
So
in
he's
your
acknowledging.
face.
He's acknowledging.
Right
Yes.
now.
So that's what I'm saying. Islam.
Listen, guys, you can
Hang
talk
on,
as
hang on.
much as you
Did
like.
did you not
the
see?
First Crusade
I didn't
was
say
done
Islam originated.
400
I'm saying Islam
years
contributed
after
to
the
world's
fall of
knowledge.
the first big Christian city to the Muslims. How come 2/3 of the Christian world fell to the Muslims, and only after that they started the first crusade? How is it possible? Well, maybe because the Europeans were fighting between each other, and it's not a thing of Europeans hating on the poor innocent Muslims. It's a thing of everybody is at war with everybody.
So returning
it's
to the
a
point
world
on
of
hand
total
then,
war.
returning
and
to
you
the
guys
point-
are always feigning this, this innocence.
No, not history. Returning to the point.
Superiority.
So if the
Religion
Quran
of peace
talks
or
about so many aspects of human endeavor, human contribution, and then it doesn't get things.
About the Quran.
Excuse me.
It's about the Arabs being
I am
the people
saying
with
you
a lot of
see,
potential.
You throw the baby with the bathwater. That's what
the
you're doing.
religion.
I'm saying it is the single contributing factor of Islamic civilization is the Quran. If you are on denial, I cannot say anything.
Okay, why are the
Yep.
Muslims not ruling the world right now?
Muslims are not ruling the world because they've abandoned the Quran. And that's why we're trying to get back to the
The
Quran.
Scotsman fallacy.
What do you mean?
Science
The
was
Scots-
It's not
declined.
reality.
That's the
When the
Science
Muslims,
was
when the
declined.
Muslims hold on to this Quran, they were the peak of civilization. But when they abandoned it, they fell.
Okay, who are the right Muslims, the Shia or the Sunni?
Anyone who believes in the
Difference.
Quran, that's what I'm talking about. Now you're talking about political differences between the Shias and the Sunnis.
It's not a political difference. It's not as simple as that.
Do they have different Qurans?
Listen, they
Can you answer that question? Do the Sunnis and Shias have different Qurans?
Yes.
no.
Which world do you live
No.
I heard
Just to make it
26
clear.
different Qurans. I heard.
The Shia don't even see Muhammad as the
in?
main prophet.
Are you okay?
I am okay. There
Okay,
are
I
many
don't think so.
different Qurans.
So now, why don't you ask?
There are
There
many
have been
different
religious
theologies.
wars between the
One-
Shia and the Sunni.
One second.
There have been religious
Why
wars
don't
between
you
guys.
do us the favor after this discussion? There are many Shias here, and ask them, do you have a different Quran than the Sunnis?
Why does it matter?
Because I'm saying it's the Quran, the central contributing factor. So your side point about Sunni and Shia doesn't matter because it's the Quran that was a single
Do the
contributing factor.
Protestants have
So
a
now-
different Bible to the Catholics?
Yes.
Do the Orthodox Christians have a different Bible to the Catholics?
When you see Greek Orthodox, yes.
They do.
Yeah.
Do they?
Number of books are different.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
So you have 66, 73, 82, 80, 79, different number of books. But Islam is not like this. So what I'm saying, to understand the challenge of the Quran, where Quran says, if this was not from God, you'd find many discrepancies and contradiction, because you would expect a book that talks about so many things, from example of anthropology to science and biology and so on, it would make mistakes because it is not, the Prophet who delivered the Quran is not proficient in every single science. Like you are not a physicist, and if I asked you to quote me the gravitational constants to 10 decimal places, you'll get it wrong. So what I'm saying is, when the Quran challenges something of this nature,
That is such a dead end of an argument. You're telling me to recite things only a physicist could, and then when I can't recite it to you, you tell me, oh, you can't recite it, that means you're wrong.
No.
That's such a
no,
fallacy,
no,
such a shameless
no.
fallacy.
Try to understand the point I'm arguing. I am saying your argument that anyone can write something without contradiction. I am saying this is not the
Not anyone. Not just anyone.
you said you.
I never said that.
Did you not say you can write things without contradiction?
Yeah, many people can
Right,
write things
you
without
can
a
write.
contradiction, but
Right.
not anyone can
But
do
the
it.
difference between you and the Quran is this: the Quran talks about astrophysics and biology. I've repeated that 3 times now already. You do not know astrophysics,
That's,
and perhaps you don't know biology
that's
either.
anecdotal
Hang on,
evidence.
wait a second.
Anecdotal evidence.
Hear my argument. Do you know what my argument is?
Go ahead.
Good. So, not being a proficient in a particular field, when the Quran is able to make a statement of physical phenomena and not contradict the reality, you know that there's a likelihood of making a lot of errors and mistakes. Like, for example, if you are going to quote, without being a physicist or knowledge of physics, the gravitational constants or the Planck's constants to certain decimal places, you'll get it wrong because you don't know this knowledge. It's not about whether you know it or not. I'm saying the possibility of you making the mistakes are far greater. Like the Quran would have far greater possibility of making mistakes if it didn't know the subject. But when the Quran does talk about this subject and it doesn't get it wrong, it tells you that where does this knowledge come from with certainty and confidence. And it tells you that you will not be able to find a discrepancy or an error or a contradiction.
Okay.
That is my
How
argument.
did the Mayans create a calendar that predicted all the solar eclipses up until the Mayan calendar ended, which was 2007, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was a little bit later, maybe in 2012, probably. But they made a calendar that predicted every single solar eclipse, ever, way after they existed.
Did they make any predictions for something else like that they got it wrong?
Listen, your predictions are very preposterous because
Please,
you are applying
you brought
things
the Mayans,
in the Quran
right?
which are figures of speech
Excuse
and
me.
are very
this is what you
things
think,
very
wrongly.
open to interpretation,
You
and you're
think
saying, oh, what they mean is this specific thing or this specific
You haven't got a
thing.
clue what you're talking about.
I have had people here telling me that the Quran is right because they predicted that in the future different Muslim people they will compete between each other, creating tall buildings. And he gave me the example of Dubai, how they have the tallest building in the world in Dubai. And I told them, listen, man, that's a self-fulfilled prophecy. They read about that stuff. They decided, they spoke about this very high tower. Let's do it. Sounds good. They had enough money to do it.
I give you that. Very interesting. The people of Dubai, they haven't got anything else to do but to fulfill a prophecy to make Islam
They're
true.
creating islands.
Yeah.
Islands out of nowhere because they have enough money for it.
Yeah.
It's exactly because they have nothing else to do
Did
with
they have
the
the
money.
provisions
They're
earlier?
developing their country.
Did they have these resources earlier and the money?
No, they have it because of the oil.
Right. So now imagine now people of Ukraine. In the future, you know what they do? They beam you out, like from here to another place.
They transport what?
Beam out. You know, Star Trek and others?
Beam you
They
out.
should beam you from one place to the other.
Beam
and
you.
no one can do that, only the people
Teleport.
of Ukraine. Teleport.
Okay, they
Right.
will teleport.
Ukraine. Now, can you envisage that now? That the Ukrainian people will do it?
As far as I know, we can't teleport yet.
People of Ukraine.
What's the question?
No. What gives you the guarantee now to say people of Ukraine will teleport and beam people in the future?
Nothing gives me that
What are the
guarantee.
Right.
percentages that he'll be right?
Would you even say that with confidence?
No.
Right, precisely my point. When the hadith is narrated that this desert-dwelling nomad Arab, barefooted, doesn't have even sandals and shoes, they will compete against each other in towering the tallest buildings in the world. So this is what we're talking about with certain utmost confidence in the future
Twisting
prediction.
is not exactly like that.
Right. So what I'm saying
It's
is,
not exactly
in
like
your
that.
in your
You
estimation,
edit.
excuse me, in your estimation, if you were to give predictions of X, Y, and Z, and so on, there's a chance that you're going to get something wrong because you're not an all-rounder. You don't know everything. The Quran, as I repeatedly saying, talks about various things. I can give you some examples from my iPad if you wish, from science and astronomy, biology, mathematics,
Okay,
and so on.
give me examples of biology, for example.
Okay, biology, skin. The Quran talks about how the people who will be in hellfire, and when they are punished, as often their skin are burned through, God will recreate fresh skin so that they might feel the chastisement, the punishment, the torture, the suffering.
It proves nothing. What does that prove in terms of biology? What
Okay,
does that
think
prove?
about it. What does it prove? What
No,
happens?
you tell me. You tell me. I'm baffled.
When you
That
have
proves nothing.
when you have a first degree burn, like you go into a very hot sun,
Okay.
and you got red, almost face, you have a first degree burn. Can you feel the pain? You can feel
Be
the pain.
serious. Everybody knows about that. That's basic
Everybody
knowledge.
knows what?
If you go to the sun unprotected, you will get burned
Okay,
by
hang on.
the sun.
Good.
It's no proof.
Good. So
Quran
you'd
proves
know, so
nothing
you'd
with
feel
that.
the pain, right? Okay. What about third degree burn? Whenever burn third degree, that you've burnt the fat, the skin, and only the muscles is now and the bone is visible. If I poke through a big needle, would you feel the pain?
Obviously, I would.
Precisely the point of the Quran. That's what people.
Are you serious? Do you need to read the Quran to know that if you burn off your skin until the muscle and bone, if you pierce it with a needle, you will feel pain? Are you serious right now? Because
friend.
you're not having any luck converting me or anybody else.
Prepare for the shock. You would not feel.
It's a
you
big
would
shock,
not feel
man. It's a big
any
shock.
pain.
You won't
Ask
feel
me
pain,
why.
mate. Were you on a-
Why would you not feel any pain whatsoever?
Well, the nerves might go berserk because of the.
Does that go berserk?
burn.
The nerves are all burnt. So you would not feel.
If you burn until the very bone, if you don't have muscle, you don't have nerves.
That's what I'm telling you.
You said muscle. You said
No,
until
I'm
the
saying
muscle.
when the whole skin is burned through, all you are left with muscle and bones. Would you feel pain? The answer is no.
If you pierce the bone, if you break the bone, you will
He's saying
still
if
feel
you
pain.
only had muscles and bones.
I am saying if you
feel pain,
pierce
Okay,
through
only
this,
only the bone
No,
itself.
muscles and bones.
muscles and
bone,
so
you will
you
feel
would
pain.
not
You
feel.
will feel, yes. If there are muscles, you will feel pain. If there are nerves, you will feel
Where
pain.
are the pain receptors?
In the nerves,
And where are the nerves?
in the muscles.
Okay, so we have to make a move, right? We have to make a move because the discussion shouldn't proceed anymore because there's no point talking to someone.
nerves
You
are.
have no idea what you're talking about, mate. That's what the problem
There's no point talking to someone who doesn't
Not
understand
all
the basic
nerves-
science.
Not
Can you
all the
explain?
nerves
No,
are
hold
in
on,
the
hold on.
muscles.
I am talking about.
Not all the nerves
Where-
are in
okay.
the muscle. Let's get this straight. Not all the nerves are in
Excuse
the
me.
muscles.
Where are the pain receptors located in the human body? On the surface of the body.
Where are they? You
In the
tell us.
nerves.
You tell us. Where
Where are the pain receptors? Not
Okay,
talking
where are
about-
they? Tell me.
Did you know?
Tell me, where are they?
Do you know? is
Did
what he's
you
asking
know?
first.
No, apparently I don't know. They
No,
they
what's
are
your-
inside our body. The nerves are the pain receptors.
Somewhere in the body. Somewhere in the body. Where are they? You know, you tell us.
I'll show you. That's even better, isn't it? Good.
I'm interested. It's something
There are
different.
some nerves that are inside the muscle. There are other
I'm not
nerves
talking about
that are
nerves. I'm
not
talking
inside
about the
muscles.
pain receptors.
So what are you talking about?
Probably doesn't recognize you, huh? Okay. So, I can find that example. Here is a cross section, as you can see, of the skin. Yep. As you can see, these are the hair follicles.
Yes.
And these are different blood supplies, different endings. So all of these receptors are located all here, right?
They are
Different
nerves.
places.
We have nerves in our skin, but we don't only have them
Listen,
in our skin.
the pain receptors are located there. So you're saying that this person, when he's going through, is going to feel muscle pain, right? So when a first-degree burn patient goes to a hospital, sorry, not first, third degree, you're saying he requires or she requires a lot of morphine and opioids, right? But what you will see that this patient doesn't actually have that kind of pain sensation. Why? Because all the pain receptor connects in your nerve, sending the impulse of pain to the brain and bringing it back to that place is all destroyed and damaged. Quran says, those who reject our signs, we shall cast into the fire. As often their skins are roasted through, we shall change them for fresh skins, that they may taste the punishment, for Allah is exalted in power and
Taste
wise.
their punishment. If
Yes.
they remove the nerves, they won't taste the punishment.
But he
because they don't
replaces
feel-
with new
But-
skin.
Oh, does he
you
replace it
listening?
with
Yes.
skin?
Change them for fresh
So
skin.
they won't feel pain
Oh my
either
God.
way.
No,
Skin
if
is
they
the
burn
burn
out the
burning.
skin and put new
Listen.
unharmed
There
skin,
is nothing. There is nothing
pain.
miracle.
Have you
Listen.
lost your mind?
Fresh skin,
Have you lost
fresh
your mind?
nerves, fresh pain receptors. You burn, you feel the pain, and then it's burnt again fresh. So every time you constantly
Again and
feel
Okay,
the
so you're
punishment.
using this to prove
Again
that
and
if
again.
we burn off the skin, we don't feel any pain. You're using this as
I'm
the
using this to demonstrate to you this knowledge comes from a wise, look, the exalted, the wise creator who not only threatens people with the hellfire, those who are going to misbehave, but he even demonstrates the mechanism and the proof of that mechanism, how he's going to punish them.
But there is no miracle in this.
Sorry,
Somebody
hold on,
get
hold on.
burned.
So do you understand that?
It will be the
Did you
skin
understand that? I
first to
don't
get
think so.
burned. Somebody in the fire, it will be the skin which get affected and get burned.
Right. So coming
There is
back
not a
to the
miracle in
Quranic
it.
presentation,
When the person gets third-degree burns, its body goes into a shock. The person usually passes out. You do know that, don't you?
Yeah, but
When the person
in
passed
the
out,
afterlife,
the person
there's
doesn't
gonna be no
feel any
death.
pain.
and then when the person recovers,
When the
what
person
happens?
passes out,
And what happens
if you
after?
inflict enough pain on the person, if you
And
cut
then
the
what?
person's arm, the person passes out.
And then
How
what?
if a bone get
The
broken?
person
And then when you
can't
wake up,
feel pain.
and you wake up, what happens?
Are you?
When you wake up, what happens? You
guys
didn't
are
even
guys.
know that you would not feel pain.
How about a bone?
You are the nonsense. You are the one who's spewing
listen,
nonsense.
Is the skin get burned? There is nothing.
That's the problem. You're not listening.
There is nothing amazing.
You're saying it's
Oh, now it's
science.
bullshit.
You're saying
You're getting
it's
stressed out,
science
bro.
now.
You look like you're getting stressed
You're saying
out.
it's science.
Your intelligence is
It's not
catching
science.
up, so
Okay.
you're getting stressed
If
out.
your body burns,
looks like
it is
You know,
the
Muhammad just
skin get burned.
invented
Yeah,
science.
he
Out
just
of
knew.
nowhere.
You know what? He
Out
just
of nowhere.
he just knew from.
What's your religion?
Why
What's your
weren't the
religion?
Arabs the
What's your
most
religion?
developed people in the earth at once?
One second.
Immediately?
Describe to
I
me.
don't have a religion.
Okay, hang on. Describe to me a mountain.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's your problem. Because you
okay.
don't see.
Sorry, brother
But
Mansur,
you
can I
might
make
be
it
wrong.
Listen,
I
do you want to hear the
might
answer
be
or not?
wrong.
Do you want to hear
Can
the
you
answer?
explain?
Do you want to hear the
You
answer or
have all
not?
the truth in the world.
Do you want to
and
hear
don't
that?
have
Do
the
you want to hear his answer or not?
Can you explain?
I don't care about
Can
the
you-
answer
can you
anymore.
explain?
Because all he says is stupid thing is in the
There you go.
Quran and distort them enough so they
Distort them.
follow his own agenda. So they follow what you are
not
saying
even
that they
listening, mate.
mean.
Sure. Describe me a mountain.
It's very open
You know what?
to
The
Can you
interpretation.
explain mosquitoes in the food?
Describes mountains.
Can you explain?
You describe.
I'm not an atheist either, by the way.
Describe to me a mountain from what you know from your knowledge. Describe to me a
Can you
mountain.
explain mosquitoes in the food has
Like
the
Everest,
medicine and the poison?
The mountains of Everest were formed because India
Not how it's formed.
was a separated continent that went, it moved
I'm not asking
with
you how
the
it's formed.
tectonic movement. It moved inside the continent
You're
of
asking me
Asia,
how it's formed.
and together they gradually increased the height of the mountains. That's why the
So the mountain is a landmass, which is elevation from the surface up to even could be the miles and so on, right?
Okay, sure, yeah.
Right. That's incorrect in most cases. You know why? Because mountains, what you see, is only a tip of the iceberg. Mountains, most of it is actually elevation downwards.
Most I told you, when tectonic plates
listen.
collide within each other, they start kind of wrinkling up together, and they start forming mountains.
So give me a...
That's how every single
Okay,
mountain
so-
in the world is
so
formed.
a visual picture of a mountain, if you were to draw, would you draw like this and like
No,
that?
they are
Because-
tectonic plates that
Wait,
collide within
wait.
each other and start rising
Different
into mountains.
after
Or
collision.
Goes down,
one
some rise
slides
up.
on top of one of
Excuse
them.
me. After
Some
collision,
collapses,
after
some
collision.
rising up.
Sometimes both of them rise, sometimes one
Okay.
collapses, the other rises.
Okay, my friend, tectonic plates. Did we know the existence of tectonic plates 1,000 years ago? You'd say, yeah, the Greeks.
As far as I know, we didn't, but
Good.
we might.
Right. Suppose now you're describing mountains.
Okay.
Would you describe mountains with tectonic plates? Very unlikely. So you describe mountains what you see. And
I just described you the tectonic plates. That means I
if you
know
was back
about this.
then, if you was back then 1,000
Fair
years ago,
enough, I might
Quran
not
is
know about
1,434 years ago, right?
fair
Or
enough.
even more, longer. So if you were to describe a mountain 1,000 years ago, of course you'd not be using the tectonic plates. You would say something like, this mountain is a surface elevation of this material of rocks or whatever going up to a certain height, to very high and so on and so forth. Right? Would you ever, think about this now, very, 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 very sincerely, would you ever have described this mountain that actually most of the mountain is a elevation downwards?
Probably wouldn't. I don't think
Probably-
I don't think they had the means to see that.
Very good.
To have enough evidence to see it.
Very
that
good.
way.
That's very good. That's my point.
what are you gonna say? The Quran explains
when the
it like
Quran
that.
describes a mountain, and it says the mountains God made like autad, like a peg. When it gives you an analogy of a description to understand what this shape is. A peg, when you erect a tent, you put the peg, most of it on the ground, and only part of it over ground. So Quran describes mountain like a peg. Look how accurate the description of the mountain body is. There was no sonar and sonography. He couldn't dig up and say, this mountain's actually at the bottom. So these illustrations, two illustrations so far, one about the skin sensation, pain sensation, and about mountains, is something that you would say even common sense knowledge would not come to this understanding.
People had third-degree burns back then. People did have it. People knew that you pass out if you have third-degree burns. You pass out. You stop feeling anything because you pass out.
And when you come back,
That doesn't mean your nerves
no,
stop.
and when you come back, why isn't there medical literature from the Greeks and the Romans and from the
If you treat
ancient
the body
Chinese?
well enough,
Wait,
when you're passed out,
One moment.
you will wake up and you will feel pain if they're treated. If they're
Why
not
don't you
treated,
do me
you
a
will
favor?
die.
From the medical history of the literature that has been surviving to our day, history of the knowledge of the Greeks and the Romans and the Persians and the Chinese and the Hindus and other civilizations, why don't you do me a favor? Find me a text where they talked about this nerve endings and sensation of pain when you have a third-degree burn. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I would like to see it. Because the Quran, I've given you 2 examples. I can give you 3, 4, 5, 20, 25, 30. And the reason why it is statistically significant and meaningful is this is the reason. To make a prediction just by guesswork, the probability is 1/2. 50-50 for any situation to get it right. If you have 2 situations, 1/2 times 1/2, which is 1/4. If you have 20 situations and you want to get all of them correct without making a mistake, the probability of getting it right is 1/1,000,000, more than 1,000,000. And getting it wrong is 1,000,000 chances. The Quran doesn't only have 20 examples. I've got several in my iPad. Various examples. The point being is, why and how does the Quran talk about so many things about natural phenomena, about agriculture, about science, anthropology, history, economics? That drop, the way it's described, like when you have water in your head and a drop dripping like a very spherical.
It's far more complicated than
hang
that.
Hang on.
Rudimentary explanation.
It's not rudimentary explanation. The word nutfa is how they understood the Arabs. The nutfa is whatever, if you have a bucket of water and you empty it and whatever's remained, if you drop, that's the nutfa. The nutfa can be described in shape now, in 3 dimensions. And this is exactly how the embryo is in its initial stage.
It's not. The embryo is a circle. It's not a drop.
Already look at.
When you look at the drop, you're not saying the drop as in it's dropping. When you have a drop, it's a spherical object. It's a spherical shape. This is then
when
mentioned
it's in the exact moment when it's dropping. You mean? Okay.
No, it says it's like a nutfa. Then the nutfa was created into a alaqa. And alaqa in the Arabic language has quite a few different meanings. Something that clings, something that hangs, something that resembles like a conjugal blood. Okay, something that look like a leech. Every single meaning of the word alaqa is correct for the human embryo description. Every single meaning. Because the embryo, do you speak Arabic?
I know what it means.
Do you speak Arabic?
We just discussed.
No, do you speak Arabic?
Alaqa means hanging down from a point.
No, you're mistaken.
Is in
the
Alaqa,
word,
Surah 96
That's
verse
the wrong person to have when you're making
96 verse 2 says, we created
okay. This is the problem with Christian missionaries.
From alaqa, that means hanging down from something.
Where does it say it's alaqa? It doesn't say alaqa.
Surah 96
Go show
verse
it.
2.
I'll just show him how he's totally wrong.
Nah, guys, I'm out. Religious discussions are not.
No. Hang on.
Alaqa means
wait.
hanging down.
Wait.
We created
I'll just say one last thing.
No.
I think it's
from something hanging down.
First of all, excuse me.
Disrespectful to your own people. You associate all the success
now,
the Arabs had to Islam itself.
You be very
I
unfair.
don't associate their
This
success
man
with Islam. I associate their success with their ability.
This
and
man
that's the last thing I have
just
to say.
contended saying it says alaqa in Surah number 96. I will just demonstrate to him how he's totally wrong. Surah number what?
96 verse 2.
Okay.
Alaqa. Surah Alaqa verse 2 says, Alaqa, I have my dictionary.
Bring your dictionary.
It says, hanging down, something hanging down from a point. We created insan, that is man.
Do you speak Arabic?
From something down.
Wait.
Hanging down.
Excuse me. Now, my friend, listen. Wait. Now, hear me out, right? Listen. Could you, brother, just recite this ayah?
خلق الإنسان من علق.
Min?
علق.
Is it alaq or alaqa?
Alaqa, molak something. Coming.
Hang on. You claim,
more different then.
you erroneously, deceptively claimed it was alaqa when it's alaq, right? So
alaq,
you're mistaken.
The root, Mansur.
Look. The root word alaqa from Arabic dictionaries means what? Tell me. What does it mean?
Means hanging down from one point.
And what are the other meanings? I mentioned that already, hanging. And what are the other meanings?
The second.
What are the other meanings?
There is only one meaning.
Grow up.
You misinterpreted it. The second meaning is embryo.
Excuse me.
The other meaning is the blood.
The reason why we don't speak to these
not
people here, because they demonstrate their level of ignorance. in Speaker's Corner.
No, man, I don't know about
Look,
all this
look.
stuff. I don't know anything about it. I don't speak Arabic.
Doesn't matter.
But listen, the thing is, if you are basing scientific knowledge on a religious book, then I'm sorry, but that's not very reasonable. Nobody did that.
I've just given you.
Europeans didn't succeed with it.
I have just given you examples of physical phenomena described in the Quran, which you would say astonishing to the least.
Listen, one of them.
Whether you like it or not,
I debunked it.
Which one did you debunk?
The one about burning yourself.
How did you debunk it?
Because
are we living in a different world?
People already knew that if you burn a person,
which people knew? Which people knew?
In the ancient world.
Give me a reference.
But the Persians.
Give me a reference from the Persians.
The ancient Egyptians.
No, give me a reference from them.
Reference, man, they knew.
No, give me a reference. You know what? They knew about robots and bacteria. They knew about computers. Yeah?
No, they didn't.
They knew, man. They knew.
Robots.
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah, sure they did.
Do you want any reference, or you accept it from me?
Or are you gonna tell me to?
Hang on. Would you just accept it from me, or would you want some references? They knew about robots.
No, man,
they knew about iPhones.
Sense.
Hang on.
It makes no sense.
They knew about iPhones.
Listen, it's reasonable
Excuse
to
me.
believe.
Hang on.
Okay.
Now,
Think with me for a second.
No. Now you're resorting to common sense.
You don't need. No,
let's come back to the skin burn.
Guys, let me just finish one thing. You don't need solid proof to know that people knew what would happen when you get burned. Because that's obvious. That's like, hitting your hand with a hammer. What will happen? You crush your hand.
You don't need a miracle.
You don't need proof. You don't need solid proof of that. Obviously they knew, because they burned animals, they burned each other. They burned... Dude, it was happening all over the world. How can you say that they didn't know what happens when you burn the person
when he
enough?
said we will
the person
replace
goes
the
into
skin.
internal shock. It goes into a shock. The person passes out, and then the person dies if he or she is not treated properly. How can you have the audacity to say that I need solid proof of that? That's obvious. That's like
the logical fallacy you're committing is this.
Wait. That's like
you think by common sense, I would say they had computers.
That's like saying that the Bible is completely wrong, and I'm not defending the Bible.
Listen.
I'm not defending the Bible.
Mansur,
It's like saying the Bible is wrong
far,
because it says that they hammered a nail into Jesus Christ's hand,
friend.
and then you say, "Oh, show me evidence that if you hammer, that they knew that if you hammer a nail into someone's hand,
is it common sense? Is it common sense to believe? Is it common sense to believe the universe is expanding? Look at the sky. Day and night. Is it expanding?
Okay, so Allah is expanding.
No. Is it expanding?
Well, the universe.
To you, is the universe expanding?
I think so. Yes.
If you look at it, can you see it by common sense as well?
No.
So how would you arrive to that conclusion?
Because there are people who, for example, astrologists who study the planets and the stars, and they have, they have.
What did the Greeks
observed them for long enough.
What did the Greeks believe?
What do you mean? What the Greeks?
The Greeks studied the stars. What did they believe? The universe expanding, or is it static?
I don't know. Probably they didn't think it was expanding.
It wasn't expanding. So now your common sense and your experience of the Greeks doesn't help.
Yes, you're going to give me another example.
I've just told you.
And that is going to be very, very peripherically
my friend,
linked.
I am simply demonstrating to you you're appealing to common sense and historical experience of certain knowledgeable people like the Greeks and the Romans doesn't help because they believed in a static universe. Universe is all that was.
You can't compare the consequence of a person getting burned with the expansion of the universe. One is common sense, the other is only known by very few people that actually study that stuff.
One second. Is it not common sense when you urinate standing, all the urine comes to you on your trousers? Is it common sense?
Urinate against the wind, it does.
No. When there's no wind and you're standing and urinating, does the urine come back to you on your trousers?
No. No, because you urinate. What kind of example is that?
Common sense.
Are you joking right now?
Do you know I work in the health industry, right?
Yeah, but if you urinate against the wind, it does get into.
Listen, I work in a hospital. Studies have been done, my friend. Yep, you can drink something, a dye, and it comes to your urine, and you can see through ultraviolet picture later on. When you urinate in the commoster, they're standing, the urine spray comes back to you on yourself.
When it hits the floor and some of it sprays back onto you?
A lot of it sprays back to you.
Not all of it, man. If you urinate forward, it goes forward. It doesn't go back to you.
Where is the common sense of preventing that? If common sense was something that people would use, where was the common sense?
I give up.
Why did people not use common sense to stop this contamination of urine?
This guy is saying that if you urinate forward, the urine comes back to you, and that's common sense.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
Let me tell you something.
I'm sorry.
Allah tells us.
Yeah, Allah.
He guides whoever He guides,
Maybe you
but He
should
does
go
not
to
guide.
the doctor if
Allah does not guide people who are unjust, who are insincere. Allah does not guide
It's not a biblical
God.
Allah.
who are unjust,
It's not
who are
biblical God.
insincere. So this may be a reflection
different
point
God.
for you. So I leave that here for now, and I think we have talked enough, and I've realized how you're being very reluctant to common sense, reluctant to history, reluctant to science. May Allah guide us all. That's all I can say.
Not
Nice to meet you.
related to your version.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, guys, have fun.
In Quran, Dulkarnain sees the sun setting in a mud. How do you find the science in this?
So let me respond, right? Imagine I'm Dhul-Qarnayn. I go to a place like a sea beach, right? And I see the sun setting in the sea. And I describe to you later on. What's your name? Hussein. I sent a text, an email, or WhatsApp to Hussein. Hussein, I found the sun, a beautiful sun, setting in the ocean. Would I be wrong?
You will be wrong. Is Allah wrong?
I'll be wrong. Khalas.
Allah wrong.
No, you're wrong.